Hi folks, this is Jeff from SimpleForexSystem.net, and this is one of my rare reviews of somebody else's Forex product. If you've been following along with me for any amount of time, you probably know I rarely review and or endorse anybody else's product, with the exception of Cynthia Macy. And Cynthia is just an automatic endorsement for me because she's a real person, she's a trader, and she has consistently turned out great material. So the biggest problem I have at this point with Cynthia is we promoted each other's stuff so often. I think we have the same list, so it doesn't really doesn't make much sense anymore to promote each other because we're all the same people or hanging out in both places. But that aside, all right, what we're looking at is a new product. It just hit the market in the last week or so. It's called BuySellTrend, and while the website itself may kind of have sort of a hint of Carl Dittman going on, it's not his site, it's not his product. A guy named Mark is one who is promoting it. I've known Mark for quite a while, actually. We've been part of this same group together for 5 years or more. And what really, there were two things about this product that really stood out for me. Okay, number one was, hey, it actually works. It's always a nice bonus whenever you're spending money on a Forex product. It's nice if you actually get something that's got some value to it and actually does what they say it's going to do. But the other thing is that it kind of has a almost like an autoscaler flavor to it. Again, if you've followed my stuff, Forex Autoscaler has been my flagship product for 7 or 8 years now. And that's the one where you can buy and then scale in additional trades after you buy or sell, and add to the trade as you go along at certain designated intervals, and turn basically normal trades of 20 or 30 pips into 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 pips with very limited risk. And it's been a great product. People really seem to like it. Well, this has a lot of that to that, okay? And let me show you what I mean. Let me try to get this thing to scroll down here a little bit. Show you some of the pictures that that he uses on the sales page, all right? Essentially, you have two parts to this method. You have a line. Kind of looks like a slope line, but it's not really. It's not the slope, it's something else. But basically, if it turns, one color, I think the preset is blue, as it shows up in this picture. It's a buy trend. If it turns red, it's a sell trend. Now, what this does is, whenever you have a color change, you get a large candle that shows up. So when the line turns from red to blue down here. When the line turns from red to blue down here, you can see that you get the big blue arrow. Well, that's a buy signal, okay? And then later on, you can see where the line turns from blue to red. You get a big red arrow. That's a sell signal. Notice there's a bunch of other smaller arrows that appear at intervals after the line itself changes color and price has progressed a certain amount of time. These are additional entry points. Now, let's say you came to the party a little late and you missed the big entry over here, all right? You get a second chance, and you even get a third chance, you even get a fourth chance to enter the trade, because it gives you additional points of entry. Now, if you are already in the trade, you can use this in a way kind of like Autoscaler, and you can add another trade in. And, if it goes a little bit better, you can add another trade in. So I really like that. And like I said, the other thing I like is this actually works. I'm going to show you something. We're going to switch over to my live chart here in a minute, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. But if you go to the sales page, you can see the a lot of examples that he has of charts where there were trades that that worked out well. Now, is it going to work right every time? Of course not. It's Forex. Nothing works every time. You're going to get the occasional losing trade. These things happen. But this has a very, so far from what I've seen, this is very good about getting you into trends that do seem to travel some distance. And if you're the kind of person who, like me, you prefer to get the stop loss to break even as quickly as possible, a lot of these trades, your worst case scenario is going to be, a break even stop loss. And when that's your worst case scenario, you're doing pretty well for trading, So anyway, that's this is the website. I'm going to pause the video for a second. We're going to go over to a live chart because there's a couple things I want to show you and then we'll be done. So hang on, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back live. Again, if you followed me for any length of time, you know that I love Renko charts. In fact, 99.9% of the trades I take are off of Renko charts. I do have some time-based charts that I run some moving averages and some envelope lines and things on to get an idea where there might be some support and resistance that needs to be considered or dealt with. But for the most part, everything that I do otherwise is on a Renko chart. So when Mark first contacted me about this and offered to let me take this out for a test drive to see if I thought it was worth my time and promoting, I told him, I said, well, look, I'm probably going to end up doing it. I'm going to put this on a Renko chart rather than just use time-based charts, because that's what I do. It's I'm a Renko guy. And he's like, yeah, cool, go ahead, see how it turns out. Well, to be honest with you, what I found was if you put it on the smaller boxes, 2 pip, 3 pip, 5 pip, it's just choppy enough that it makes it difficult to show any kind of a consistent profit. And I mean, that's again, if you're using the smaller box sizes, generally you're just trying to scalp for a few pips. And a lot of times you would be able to do that with this, that you would get maybe enough boxes after the major signals, which would be after the trend line had the color change, that you would be able to get a handful of pips out of it in a lot of trades. But I can't say you could get it in enough of them to make it worthwhile. But if you put this on a 10 pip chart, this thing has remarkable consistency in terms of pointing out spots where price is about to move 40 or 50 or 60 pips. And the great thing is, if you're using a 10 pip box, your worst case scenario from a stop loss standpoint is really probably only about 20 pips. And your upside to that is tremendous. If you're saying you're going for 40 or 50 pips and you're only risking 20 pips, that's about what, 2.5 to 1 risk reward ratio. That's pretty solid. And if you're hitting half of your trades at that level, you're making very, very good money. So let me just show you on this. This is a 10 pip Renko chart. This is the pound yen. This is going back to like mid-May, and I'm going to scroll forward to current time here before we get too far along. There are some times during the day, obviously, the poor times, which are prior to London Open. Sometimes that hour or so before New York opens tends to be a little choppy and a little bit dead. After London Open, after New York Open rather, it gets a little bit better most of the time, although you have a dead hour in there. Lately 9 to 10 has been dead hour. If you get 20 pips of movement on this pair in that hour, you're lucky. But the most of these signals, like I said, the major signals, the large blue or the large red arrows, generally pop off at least 2 or 3 10 pip boxes after they come out. And what I'm showing you here is kind of the exception that will more or less prove the rule. You can see you've got a sell signal essentially right at the very bottom of the move. That sucks, but it happens occasionally. And then immediately it turned and went the other way. Now, if you're waiting for an opposite signal, you're going to go 40 or 50 pips on this trade. What I found from watching this is that generally no more than 2 boxes. If it goes 2 boxes the wrong way, it's going to go a lot more the wrong way. So you might want to just get out and wait for a signal that confirms you should be going in the opposite direction. But for the most part, a lot of these are just 1 box, choppy 1 box areas. So if you were trading in here on the, whatever this is, the 17th of May, this would not have done your account much good. But you follow it up on the 18th and you get a nice, about a 30 pip move. And this brings up another point, by the way. I meant to mention this earlier. These arrows are real-time posted arrows, okay? When this box closed and price shifted over to the new box, the arrow appeared, meaning that arrow shows up for that box. That's where the signal is. So when this candle closes and the new candle opens, that's when you get in. There are some products out there, unfortunately, that you look at the arrows as they show up on your chart as you are, visually back testing, and you're thinking, my God, this is a wonderful system. Look, it gets you in at the very top and the very bottom all of the time. And then once you run it live, you realize that price actually has to come down 4 or 5 boxes before it posts the arrow back up 40 or 50 pips, in the rearview mirror. Does you no good whatsoever. So this one is actually real time. It doesn't repaint. Once it posts, once that box locks in, that's it. It's there and it stays there. So that is another very nice feature of this system. No, because nothing sucks more than getting something that repaints terribly. But you can see on this trade right here, so you had sort of a sucky day on the 17th, but you're able to pick up maybe 30 pips on this one. If you got out, if you rode it all the way back, you got a second signal at the top here telling you sell again. You could have picked up 30 on that plus an additional 20. Now you could be up 50. It's still grinding the wrong way a little bit, but you're able to keep picking up additional trades, and then when you finally get to the 4th trade down here, this thing ends up being good for 60 or 70 pips on top of what you have over here on the other trades. This could end up being a 300, 400 pip trade by the time you're all said and done. Next trade comes up on the 22nd of May. Goes up about 40 pips or so. You get a nice sell here that I kind of wish I'd had this back on the 22nd of May. Because this is about a 300 pip move or thereabouts, 400 pip move, I don't know, something like that. And it went from 49 down to 45 something, so about 400 pips. You followed it up with a nice buy signal that went, pretty well. You got another sell signal here, and you can see you've got all these additional spots where you could be buying in. Now you get this last buy signal. At the same time, or a couple of boxes later, you get a sell signal. Well, that would be your automatic out. If you're still in the trade buying and you get the big arrow going in the opposite direction, get out. There's no sense in sticking in any farther. So you got another sell signal, did pretty well. A couple of re-entries that did okay, and then you got a buy signal with a couple of spots where you could have added in. You got a really nice sell signal out of it. And so, you had, like I said, one kind of a bad day, and then, everything else has been, for the most part, pretty good all the way up through, May 25th. And, occasionally you'll get a situation like this where you're going to get a buy signal, then almost immediately you're going to get a sell signal. Okay, it happens. Like I said, nothing is perfect. So you just, get out of your buy and get into your sell as quick as you can. And, if you get back enough pips on the next trade to wipe out that loss, you might think about just getting out and, pretending none of it ever happened because you've restored your account back to where you were at originally. So that's always one way you can play it. But anyway, you can see there's just been some really nice trades. Big buy here, big sell here, another really good buy here, and the sell didn't do too well, but the big buy more than picked up for that on the way back up. Nice sell, nice buy, another nice sell here, another a good. That was not really a good buy. It was probably close to a break even or small loss buy, a small loss sell, another nice buy that just seemed to go forever. So anyway, I mean that's the system. Now it also comes with all of the alerts built in. You can get the alerts sent to your text message on your phone. You can get emailed. You'll have the alert pop-ups on the screen. It's if you're trading off of a 10 pip Rinko box, that's probably the way to do it because you're not going to want to sit here for 24 hours waiting for a signal to come in. But if you've got it up and running and you're busy doing other stuff and you get the message on your cell phone, then to go check your charts. And I've actually had that installed on a couple of indicators lately, and I have to admit it is handy. Whereas before I would generally keep myself in this end of the house and just sort of every few minutes glance over at the charts. I can go outside and work in the yard. I can go, do what I have to do. And as long as I'm not out running errands somewhere when the signal comes in, if I'm home, I've got a good shot at getting into the trade that signal is related to. So, it's a very handy tool to have. Price on this thing I think is like $89. So very reasonable. It's sold through ClickBank, and so you get the ClickBank guarantee. If it doesn't pan out for you, you got 45 days to send it. Well, you don't send it back in, but you can ask for a refund, which is the scammer's delight, unfortunately. But if you're really and seriously a true trader, I think you're going to do well with this, especially if you can use Rinko, and especially if you can deal with the time gaps of waiting for 10 pip chart to hand out the signals. because if you can be patient and wait for that, you may have to go a day without a signal, or 2 days without a signal, or you may end up getting a trade that lasts 2 or 3 days. But if you can handle that sort of thing, then I would seriously consider picking this up and putting it on a 10-pip chart. So this is one of the rare Forex products out there that I think is worth the money. And I'm a little bit surprised it's only priced at $89. I would have guessed this would have been like a $485 type of purchase, So I mean, and it may be in that at some point in time he may smarten up and raise the price. I don't know. So it might behoove you to jump out there and get a hold of it now while you can still pick it up for a very reasonable price. The link is in the bottom. I put a bit.ly link in because the overall link is extremely long, and so just click on the link in the description below and take you right to the sales page. Now this is an affiliate link, so if you click on it, I think I'm going to make like $30 out of this deal or $40 out of this deal, whatever it comes out to be in. But like I said, I don't do this very often for other people. This is one of those rare products that I really liked and thought it would be worth sitting down to make this video. So anyway, I hope you've learned something. I hope you like what you see, and I hope you can go over there and pick this thing up, because I think it's a pretty good tool to put in your toolbox. And like I said, combine it with Rinko, I think you're going to make some money with it. So anyway, have a great day. Good trading. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.